Great news, everyone! The Metroid Prime Remaster is coming this year. At least according to Jeff Grubb. Again. Come on, Nintendo, just announce the darn thing already. I'm dying over here. Anyway, assuming this remake, or Big Boy Remaster as Grubb calls it, is real, we have a list of features that we'd love to see incorporated into it. Because even though Metroid Prime is a masterpiece, it can still be better. So let's start off with something that should be obvious for a remaster: enhanced visuals. So what kind of touch-ups will this Metroid Prime remake receive? Judging by Jeff Grubb's wording, it's probably not going to be a full-blown remake, but honestly, I don't know if the video game industry knows the difference between a remake and a remaster anymore. I mean, if Naughty Dog calls this a remake, and Square Enix calls this a remaster, who's to say what the heck Nintendo is doing with Metroid Prime? Here's the thing though. For being an almost 20-year-old game, Metroid Prime still looks really good, especially since it already ran at 60 frames per second. So it wouldn't be surprising if the remaster, remake, or what have you isn't an overhaul. That said, a simple resolution bump to 1080p wouldn't be enough to make the game look the best it could be. Most of the textures are low res, some of the models could use some smoothing out, and the lighting can certainly be improved, especially that Space Pirate research base. If only there was an item that could let you see in the dark. Oh, calm down, I'm kidding. Point is, not a whole lot needs to be done for a remaster of Metroid Prime, and if we simply got those adjustments, we would be satisfied. Also, when I shoot the water, I expect to see ripples. Why was this taken out of the Wii version? Just like the particle effects on the charge beams. Please bring these back. Alright, Metroid Prime fans, I think it's time we had a serious talk about this map. It kind of sucks. It's not the worst map in existence, but it certainly leaves a few things to be desired. The rooms blend together when rotated, and it's easy to get lost in its twists and turns. In Retro Studios' defense, making a 3D map for a 3D game is not easy. So if the map design remains the same, the least they could do is figure out a way for players to find the Chozo artifacts more easily, without having to travel all around the world at the end of the game. While it is possible to find these artifacts before collecting all your gear, it's difficult for first-timers to figure out. Heck, I've played this game multiple times, and I still collect most of the artifacts after I get the Phazon suit. It might help streamline the experience a bit by placing map indicators where the artifacts would be, whether or not you visit the impact crater first. It would seriously make for a less frustrating time. Hey, did you know that Kraid was supposed to be a boss in Metroid Prime? It's true, but he didn't make the cut. This would be an awesome battle to bring back in a remake or remaster, though at that point it would probably be a remake. That's not all they could bring back, as there was going to be narration from Samus's voice actor, Jennifer Hale, played at the beginning summarizing the events of the first Metroid game.
10 years ago, below the surface of planet Zebes, the mercenaries known as Space Pirates were defeated by interstellar bounty hunter Samus Aran.
Though in the case of narration, it would probably have to be considered optional for the player to turn on or off before the game begins. Just like other narration that was included in the PAL version. Believe it or not all PAL versions of games are bad, and Metroid Prime is one of the good ones, as it was able to be played at either 50Hz or 60Hz. That's great, but it's besides the point. The PAL version includes some necessary changes to the game, including some logbook entries that fix a plot hole where the Space Pirates interacted with the Metroid Prime, which wouldn't make sense because the Metroid Prime is located behind an impenetrable wall. However, what probably shouldn't come back is the narration that plays at the beginning of the game and also verbally reads out all the locations you enter.
The cosmos, in the vast universe, the history of humanity is but a flash of light from a lone star. Phazon Mines, Chozo Ruins, Talon Overworld.
Or you know what? Keep it optional. There's just something about that early 2000s cheesiness that makes it kind of charming. Metroid games are not very long, and they're meant to be played again for different reasons, like getting 100%, speedrunning, or playing on a harder difficulty. But you know what would add some more replay value to Metroid Prime? How about some new modes? After seeing Metroid Dread get Boss Rush and an even harder difficulty, I figured these would be perfect additions to Metroid Prime. Seeing how fast you can defeat all the bosses would be fun, and adding a difficulty that's even harder than hard mode would be another challenge. Perhaps include one-hit kills like in Dread mode? I shudder at the thought of that. Let's talk about Amiibo, as there are quite a few Metroid-themed ones, 8 to be exact, but in Metroid Dread, all they do is give you extra energy and missile tanks along with daily reloads, which is, as the kids say, lame AF. Meanwhile, in games like Twilight Princess HD, you get a whole challenge dungeon with the Wolf Link amiibo that you can also carry over into Breath of the Wild. That's so cool! Also, the Zelda and Loftwing amiibo unlocks a quicker mode of travel in Skyward Sword, but for Metroid Prime, let's avoid locking features like that behind amiibo. Instead, how about some cool unlockables? Remember when you could get the Metroid Fusion suit via the GBA Link cable? A great workaround for that would be to scan the Metroid Dread Samus amiibo. Better yet, make new outfits that are unlockable through the different amiibo. Maybe using the Ridley one would unlock a new skin for him in Metroid Prime. Cosmetics like these are cool to unlock through amiibo, and if this Prime remake is going to use them, hopefully they won't lock handy quality of life improvements behind them, like fast travel. So far, Metroid Prime has released on platforms with 2 extremely different control schemes. The GameCube with a somewhat traditional controller, and the Wii with its motion controls. Luckily, the Switch is able to handle both traditional and motion controls with the Joy-Cons, Pro Controller, or even the GameCube controller. You know what that means. The Metroid Prime remake needs to support all these control options. This does bring up another point, however. Metroid Prime on GameCube uses tank controls, which are far different from the traditional FPS controls we've come to expect from modern shooters. Chances are if the Metroid Prime remake is real, then there would be a new modern control scheme introduced so new players aren't frustrated by the original tank controls. But if a hardcore Prime fan wants to play with those controls, then the option could be there. It's an absolute win for everybody. This one's a long shot, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, so I'm just gonna say it. Bring in Metroid Prime 2's multiplayer mode, or at least a variation of it. It'd make for one heck of a way to add content to Metroid Prime, especially if you include online. That was a big missed opportunity when it was brought to Wii with the Prime Trilogy. Now it's time to make up for it. However, this is probably the least likely feature that'll be added to the game, simply because it was only in Metroid Prime 2. And if the additional rumors about that game coming to the Switch along with 3 later are true, then it's most likely not showing up in a Prime 1 remake. Still, if Retro Studios, or whoever's developing this remake, feel daring enough, adding that multiplayer mode might be worth it. Metroid fans have had it pretty good lately, but you know what we've been missing? A themed Switch console bundle. Yeah, the Switch OLED looks like an Emmy robot, but a Metroid Prime themed Switch OLED would make my wallet cry. In fact, my colleague Jake presented a good idea for what it could look like. Tell him, Jake.
Okay, stay with me on this. The Nintendo Switch and the Joy-Con would look like a Metroid, but the dock would be Samus's head. Do you get it? Do you see what I am seeing? It's like the Metroid is attacking Samus's head when you dock it. Come on now, that's a great idea!
If the rumors are true and the Metroid Prime remake releases this holiday, then it would be a celebration for the game's 20th anniversary. While a remake would be a good enough way to celebrate 20 years, another is to have players get more insight into the game's development. And the best way to do that is with developer commentary. Imagine going through Metroid Prime while listening to the developers talk about how they made this incredible game, with all its trials and tribulations. It would help fans appreciate the game more than they already do, and it would provide them with interesting stories. Because if you know anything about Metroid Prime's development, oh boy, it was quite interesting. If dev commentary isn't possible though, how about video diaries or a full-blown documentary? One that's unlocked through special scans in the game's world. Yo, I'm just filled with good ideas, man. You can have that one for free, Nintendo. And those are 10 hopes and wishes we have for the Metroid Prime remake, which is rumored to be coming out this holiday for the Nintendo Switch. Do you have any other ideas for it? Let us know in the comments below, and check out the videos on the right for more topics you might be interested in. Until next time, bye.